All right, welcome. Today, we are going on a journey into one of the most incredible parts of the human mind, ingenuity. That spark that lets us solve seemingly impossible problems. We're going to break down exactly how it works. So, let's dive right in. Okay, picture this. This wasn't some hypothetical riddle. This was a real life or death crisis for the astronauts aboard Apollo 13. Their square carbon dioxide filters didn't fit the round openings they needed them to. Back on Earth, a team of engineers had to figure out a fix using only the stuff the astronauts had with them, literally just tape, plastic bags, and cardboard. It is the perfect example of ingenuity under the most intense pressure imaginable. So, what is ingenuity, really? At its heart, yeah, it's about being clever, but it's so much more than that. It's about being resourceful. It's that uncanny ability to see a path forward when everyone else sees a brick wall, especially when you're running out of time, money, or options. Now, to really wrap our heads around ingenuity, we first need to draw some lines in the sand. We have to separate it from its close cousins, words we throw around all the time, like creativity, intelligence, and innovation. They sound similar, but in your brain, they're very, very different processes.
You know what's so fascinating here is how each one of these deals with constraints, with rules and limitations. Intelligence is great at working within the rules to find the one right answer. Creativity, on the other hand, can actually get bogged down by too many rules. But ingenuity? Ingenuity is different. It loves constraints. It feeds on them. Scarcity becomes its fuel. And innovation? Well, that's the last mile, taking that ingenious or creative idea and making it a reality in the world. So, the big question is, how does our mind actually pull this off? What are the cognitive tools it's reaching for to make these amazing leaps? Let's pop open the mental toolkit and see what's inside.
It turns out there's a rhythm to ingenuity. It's like this constant dance between two modes of thinking. First, you diverge. You go wide, exploring every crazy angle of the problem. Then you converge. You narrow your focus, and you pinpoint what really matters. Then you do it again. Diverge to brainstorm a ton of solutions, and converge one last time to pick and polish the very best one. This double diamond is like the breathing of creative problem solving. Okay, time for a little challenge for you. This is a classic experiment from psychology. You've got a candle, a box of thumbtacks, and some matches. Your mission, get that candle mounted on the wall so the wax doesn't drip on the floor. How do you do it? I'll give you a second to think it over. And there you have it. So simple, right? But it's not always easy to see. The reason so many of us get stuck is because of a little mental glitch called functional fixedness. Our brain sees a box of tacks, and it can't see it as anything else, like a potential shelf. The secret to ingenuity is breaking past that mental block. It's about having cognitive flexibility, the ability to mentally break an object down into its parts and see what it could be, not just what it is. Another absolute powerhouse in the toolkit is something called analogical reasoning. This is your brain's ability to find a parallel. There's this famous study where people couldn't figure out how to destroy a tumor without harming healthy tissue. But then they were told a story about a general attacking a fortress who sent small groups of soldiers down different roads all at once. Suddenly, they saw the answer. Use multiple weak radiation beams that all converge on the tumor. That's how our minds make these incredible leaps. We borrow the blueprint from a totally different world. Okay, so we've seen the how, the mental software. Now let's look at the where. We are going deep inside the brain's hardware to see exactly which neural networks are lighting up and running the show. So first up, we have what scientists call the default mode network, but a much cooler name for it is the imagination network, because that's what it does. This network is buzzing when you're daydreaming, taking a shower, or just letting your mind wander. It's your brain's idea generator, smashing together distant memories and random thoughts to cook up something new. Then you've got its opposite, the executive control network. We can call this the focus network. This is the CEO of your brain. It's the part that kicks into high gear when you need to concentrate, analyze, and make a decision. It looks at all the wild ideas coming from the imagination network and basically asks, that's cute, but is it actually going to work? So you have these two networks. One's a daydreamer, one's a taskmaster. How do they ever work together? Well, that's the job of the salience network. Think of it like the brain's master switchboard, or a bouncer at a club. It's constantly listening to the chatter from your imagination network, and when it hears a really interesting or promising idea, it flips a switch and tells the focus network, hey, you need to pay attention to this one. And this, right here, is the secret. It's beautiful. The ingenious brain isn't just unfocused, Instead, it's locked into this incredibly special state of goal-directed daydreaming. It's actively using the power of mind-wandering to solve a specific problem. That dynamic dance between the networks is what separates a random thought from a true breakthrough. And that incredible aha moment, that feeling of sudden insight, it's not just in your head. It's a real physical event in your brain that we can actually measure. There's a sudden spike of high-frequency gamma waves, a flash of reorganization in your brain's processing centers, and a rush of dopamine. That little jolt of pleasure is literally your brain giving you a reward for your discovery. Okay, enough theory, enough neuroscience. This is the part that really matters. How can we get better at this? How do we actively cultivate ingenuity in our own work and lives? Let's turn all this science into some practical strategies. Now, this might sound completely backward, but it's one of the most important takeaways. We think we need total freedom to be creative, but it turns out constraints, a tight budget, a looming deadline, a limited set of tools, are actually a catalyst. They slam the door on the obvious, easy solutions, which forces our brains to find clever, new, and more resourceful ways around the problem. Expertise is another one of these double-edged swords. I mean, of course, you need knowledge to solve tough problems, but that very same knowledge can dig deep mental ruts, making you blind to new possibilities. The most ingenious experts have this amazing ability to know when to draw on their deep experience and when to intentionally adopt a beginner's mind and see the problem as if for the first time. And get this, even your mood can be a strategic tool. When you're in a positive, happy mood, your attention actually broadens. That makes it a perfect time for divergent thinking, for brainstorming and generating tons of ideas. But when you're feeling a bit frustrated or grumpy, your focus narrows. That's actually better for the convergent part, for analyzing and finding the flaws in an idea. The real key seems to be intensity. High energy moods, good or bad, give us the push we need to create. So to wrap things up, let's look ahead. What does all this mean in the age of artificial intelligence? What happens to human ingenuity when we have machines that can generate an endless stream of ideas? Well, you can think of generative AI as the ultimate divergent thinking partner. It is an absolute beast at creating a massive volume of options, ideas, and possibilities in seconds. It can serve as this incredible springboard to get us past that scary blank page and give us a rich landscape of ideas to start with. This means our role starts to shift. As AI takes over more of the raw idea generation, our uniquely human ingenuity becomes even more valuable for the things machines just can't do. We become the masterful curators. Our job is now about asking the right questions, about skillfully guiding these powerful tools, and, most importantly, about applying human wisdom, ethics, and values to choose the best path forward from the sea of options AI gives us. And that leaves us with a pretty profound final thought. For most of human history, our main challenge was simply coming up with enough good ideas. But as we enter a world where AI can generate ideas almost infinitely, maybe our greatest, most critical human skill is no longer generation, but the simple and yet incredibly complex act of choosing wisely. Thanks for watching.